All right, now we're going to take a look at day 11's reading. It's entitled Water Sky. So you're going to read aloud with me, listen to it, and then read it again by yourself. But look up that word in bold perpetually in paragraph 10 when we're finished and see if you can figure out what it means. Let me rotate this real quick. Okay, it says Water Sky. Water Sky is an American novel about a boy named Lincoln Noah Stonewright who was visiting the family of an Inuit whaling captain in Alaska. In its opening chapter, the author describes Lincoln's arrival in the new climate. Chapter 1. Lincoln. A boy in a bright blue ski jacket and Maine hunting boots stood on a snowy runway. Under rumpled black hair, his crooked nose and wide brown eyes gave him an expression of good humor, although he was not amused at this moment. Yesterday, he had left Boston and laid over in Anchorage in high spirits. Now he was about to run back to the friendly jet that had carried him across Alaska to this barren Arctic outpost. Suddenly, a cloud of frozen fog swirled over him. He could not see the plane, or the sky, or the flat snowscape that rolled endlessly out beyond the airport. Wrapped in an Arctic whiteout, he could have been upside down or sideways for all he could tell. And so he stood still. In a few moments he was standing in the sunshine again, and the terror of the tundra blew off. He turned and ran to the airport terminal, his face happy with purpose. He was going to do what he had come to Barrow, Alaska to do. He did not look back again. Inside the squat building, he waited until his eyes adjusted to the dim light, then nervously scanned the faces of the people who'd come to meet the passengers. No face satisfied him. He repeated the words of the man to whom he and his father had talked by telephone several months ago. "You will know me by my blue-rimmed sunglasses," Vincent Ogak had said. The boy glanced from face to face. There was no one with blue-rimmed sunglasses. "You Lincoln Noah Stonewright?" The boy spun around. His eyes met those of another boy. "Yes, I am. I'm Cusick." Cusick wore a red woolen hat pulled down on his black eyebrows. A ruff of wolverine fur circled his dark, tan face like a rising sun. He was dressed in white, except for his sealskin boots. They were silver fur with a checkered border of black and white fur. As Lincoln shook Cusick's hand, his family's old photograph of Eskimos came to mind. "I have walked into those pictures," he said to himself. "Everything is the same, the clothes, the boots, the faces." He stood quietly, wondering what to do next. "How are you?" the young Eskimo asked. "I'm glad you're here." His exceptionally dark eyes were slanted upward as if he were perpetually smiling. His cheeks were broad and high, like those of an Eskimo's in the painting that hung over the fireplace in Lincoln's home. It had been a centerpiece of his childhood thoughts of rainy days and snowy nights. The painting depicted his great-great-grandfather's whaling ship frozen in the Arctic ice for the winter. Kids like Cusick were playing baseball on ice with the adult Eskimos and the Yankee whalers, as the whalers from Boston and New York were called. Lincoln managed to smile at Cusick. "Vincent Olgak is sorry he cannot meet you," Cusick said. "He is not well." Lincoln breathed deeply to quell the panic that was rising in him. For 4 months he had thought about this man who was going to meet him at the airport. When he awoke at night, he would clutch his pillow and wonder how living with an Eskimo family would go. Then he would think of Vincent Olgak, his father's good friend. He was once mayor of the enormous North Slope borough of 88,000 square miles and 4,000 people, his father had said. But he is soft-spoken. He is one of the best whaling captains who ever lived. But he loves all whales. He's a scientist who goes beyond technology. He knows that what animals think and what the sea and ice say. But most important, he's a loving man. A big man. When Lincoln had thought about meeting Vincent Olgak, he had felt better about going so far from home, and had gone back to sleep. Now he was frightened. Vincent Olgak was not here. Maybe, Lincoln said to himself, Mom was right after all. She had not wanted him to take this trip to the Arctic. Alice Stonewright had never really said why, not even that it was dangerous or that she would miss him, but she had let her father know exactly how she felt. "Frederick," she had said to Lincoln's father, one April evening shortly before Lincoln was to leave. I'm going to say this once more. I don't think Lincoln should go to Barrow. It's not necessary at all. Her sandy eyelashes had lowered over her pale blue eyes too late to hide her anger. She's sure mad about this one, Lincoln had mused, then given up on trying to understand what was going on between his father and mother. Unfortunately, they were at dinner, seated at the big mahogany dining table in Lincoln's great great grandfather's house, which now belonged to his father. Lincoln could concentrate on balancing his peas on his knife instead of listening once more to the argument. Well, there was no argument. His father did not answer. The only sounds Lincoln heard were the clicks of silverware against the china plates and the thumping of the waves hammering the bay shore at the bottom of the big lawn. The plans were firm. Lincoln stepped back to the pleasant, looked at Cusack, and swallowed hard. I'm sorry Vincent all got sick, Lincoln managed to say, then quickly blurted. I'd just go to the hotel. Dad said there's one here. I'll call him. Oh, you don't have to do that. I'll take you to Vincent Olgak, all right. He sent me to get you. Lincoln managed to work his mouth into a smile. The wind struck the terminal with a mournful wolf howl. The building shuddered. He reached for his return ticket just as the baggage came through the large door in the metal-walled building, together with a blast of cold air. Resolutely, he picked up his duffel and suitcase. Okay, he said. Please take me to Vincent Olgak. You cannot go as you are, Cusack said. You need Eskimo clothes. He is on the ice. I'll be all right, the boy said. I skied at 0 in these clothes. Cusack smiled politely. I will take you home first. You can leave your bags there. Lincoln nodded. With his duffel in one hand, his suitcase in the other, he followed Cusack out of the terminal. At the top of the steps, he looked out on the village of Barrow. It was not easy to see, for it was white in the white landscape. Everything was covered with hoarfrost. Utility poles and wires, buildings, their doorways, and parked snowmobiles. The air glittered and flashed with what seemed to be smithereens of mica, but which were sub-zero mist. The cold was working its white magic to hide the little town. Hey, it's beautiful, Lincoln exclaimed. Then he saw 2 four-wheel drive vehicles that had been left running so they would not freeze up while the drivers waited for their passengers. He also noticed that only one person walked the cold white streets. And then he saw why. The large thermometer at the side of the terminal registered 35 below zero. Lincoln's breath almost crystal Lincoln's breath crystallized on his eyelashes, and he almost did not see Cusack go round a mountain of plowed snow. He ran down the steps and found him beside an orange snow machine. The sight of the big skidoo not only cheered Lincoln, but banished his doubts about staying in Barrow. From the looks of things, he would be driving snow machines to get around, and that would be just great. His dad was right. This would be a wonderful adventure. Hop on, Cusick said. I'll give you a tour. Show you what finding oil on our ancestors' land has done for the Eskimos. Lincoln swung onto the seat behind Cusack and balanced himself on the holding a piece of luggage in one hand, or in each hand. The machine strapped forward. He grabbed with his knees to keep from shooting backward into the snow. Cusack steered the machine around the snow pile and sped down the main street. The houses stood far back from the broad main drive. They were small to conserve heat. Some were almost buried under drifts of snow. When the sun hit them, they twinkled. I'm not on my planet, Lincoln said to himself. Barrow's just different. And Dad says it's otherworldly.